This channel is only possible thanks to direct contributions from you, the viewers. Seriously, thank you guys. If you'd like to contribute, you can do so for as little as $1 a month on Patreon, or come pick up a t-shirt at the merch store. Links below. Hey gamers, Optimistic Duelist here, and today we're going to talk about Jadebloods. Jadebloods are assigned the task of ensuring the continuation of Trollkind proper, propagating the species and maintaining the setting of Alternia by caring for the brooding Mother Grub that births trolls en masse in her brooding caverns. This is a downright sacred duty, and on Jadebloods' ability to perform it rests the integrity of the very world that the rest of the Caste lives in. As a result of this, they are forced to live apart from the rest of Alternian society in the brooding caverns, and upon coming of age are forced to either fight in the space war or commit to the celibate, nun-esque lifestyle of a cloistered broodmother Jade. This means that they are kept isolated from other trolls, distant and lonely. In this, they reflect one of the core struggles of Spacebound, like Jade Harley and Calliope, the physical space separating them from others. The Caste itself is linked to space and Homestuck, as Calliope helps Roxy tap into their essence to create the Matriorb. In being forced to perform this constant labor, they also perform the labor struggle of the Maid, echoing the Dolorosa. However, like Kanaya, the Sylph, they are expected to aid the agendas of others, specifically the Alternian Empire. And like both fairy classes, they're also linked to magic, specifically as it relates to creation and reproduction. And they are in fact known to turn into fantastical creatures called rainbow drinkers, vampires that glow in the dark under certain conditions. Rustbloods are also linked to the fantastical by way of their association with ghosts, fantastical beings linked to the persisting past one's time, but rainbow drinkers are fantastical by nature of how they interact with space. They move fast, silently, and light up the dark, and generally come off like a bright spoof of Twilight vampires. Despite their innately nurturing role, Jadebloods are discouraged from any kind of emotional attachment to those they care for, since they're expected to leave the weak and sick to die, in line with Alternia's ideology. On the surface, potential Rogue of Breath Bronya seems perfectly complacent and fine with the status quo, an image that she's careful to maintain to avoid drawing attention to her group of Jadebloods. She takes their freedoms in small ways to keep them in line, thereby keeping the group stable enough to allow her friends to pursue their passions more than they could otherwise. She also rebels directly by trying to save Grubs, something she keeps secret out of fear of drawing the Empire's ire. Despite being possibly the most rebellious of all the Jadebloods in this respect, she also seems to go out of her way to hide her anti-authority activities even from her fellow Jadebloods, leaving most of them to conclude that she's just a meddling busybody who likes the status quo. At minimum, Bronya is at least keeping her rebellious nursery a secret from potential Rogue of Hope, Daraya, because her goody two-shoes act has fooled this girl completely. Which honestly sucks for both of them, since Daraya's sour attitude and apathetic, rebellious streak is rooted in feeling alienated by Alternia's bizarre, pointless cruelty, and a desire to escape to or create something better. Alternia is a bullshit world meant to imprison and torture everyone in it, and Daraya understands this too well to be satisfied by just living in it. If she can't connect with anyone about these feelings, meeting the MSPA reader results in her falling into a state of self-destructive nihilism and committing suicide. Meeting Tizius, however, gives her a productive outlet for these feelings that makes her feel a little bit better. She even offers to basically steal Jadeblood books for Tizius's research. Potential Sylph of Rage Lynera, on the other hand, has likely noticed Bronya's efforts, at least insofar as trying to keep her friends taken care of. In fact, she notices basically everything about Bronya, partly because she's her right-hand woman in the caverns, and partly because she's completely obsessed with her, and in deep pain about her inability to either get over or confess to her while Bronya goes out to date other people. Perhaps partly because of her rage-bound nature, Lynera's emotions tend towards the negative, and push her into being volatile and dangerous. She locks up the reader at knife point out of jealousy, and Lanque accuses her of being manipulative and talking behind people's backs. While we can't know for sure what's true about Lynera, evoking Rage's association with skepticism and doubt, Lynera does start to grow past her dependency on Bronya with the reader's help. Meanwhile, we have the baby of the group, potential mate of doom, Wanshi, who's a precocious and artistic young girl who enjoys writing fiction. She feels trapped and confined by her life, like Daraya, but even more so since she's younger and lacks the unhealthy catharsis of self-destruction to lean on. So young that she's still learning about Alternia's violence and the brutality of death. In one timeline, she inadvertently leads you to your doom at the hands of a bear, when she makes you take her to a writing convention that it's set loose in. It's also worth mentioning that she's a popular writer in the Soldier Purbeast fandom, a spoof off the Warrior Cats book franchise, which is famously rather dark, kind of like Watership Down or Animorphs. She also mentions being able to make a certain someone roleplay with her, which brings us to Lanque, the Jadeblood Vriska, in the sense that he showed up and immediately cemented himself as one of Hiveswap's most controversial characters. A potential heir of life, your relationship with him is split based on a choice that determines what kind of party you find him in, which in itself results in you meeting two different versions of Lanque. If you decide you want the safe-for-work, child-safe party, then you meet an emotionally in tune and performatively nice version of Lanque, who makes an apparently earnest effort to help Lynera with her feelings. If you choose to go for the adults-only 18+ route, you get a raunchy and rowdy party where Lanque is catty, mean, and downright cruel to Lynera, making her run away from the party crying. The differences between the two Lanques are so intense that some of the fandom even thinks they come from completely different causalities, like different timelines with different versions of a person. But I think there's a simpler explanation. I view Lanque as a kind of social chameleon that changes with the circumstances surrounding him. It's not actually that odd to find a person who will simply behave differently according to the situation that they're in, and that's how I read Lanque. But even if Lanque is honestly capable of performing both ways in both scenarios, I do think that the adults-only route is a little bit more honest or indicative of his true state of mind, simply because we get the chance to know him better. In that route, Lanque ends up attempting to seduce the reader, and even succeeds, resulting in the first time the MSPA reader themselves ever sleeps with a troll, the first time that a troll ever canonically sleeps with anyone in canon, and making me personally very happy that Lanque is, by human standards, somewhere in the vicinity of 19 to 20, meaning that this event isn't actually problematic at all. Thanks. In the process, though, Lanque also confides that he feels trapped in his life and like he's already dead, asking the reader to help him live a little more, which makes sense since he's just around the age when he's going to be sent off to the space war. Life as an aspect inherently concerns rule-breaking, consumption, and the indulgence of oneself, particularly as it relates to sexuality in some respects. So it makes sense that Lanque would feel this way, living under the constraints of Alternia and Jadebloods. Knowing that he's doomed to live a life that isn't his own might also be why he avoids any serious emotional intimacy, completely shutting down the MSPA reader after he gets what he wants out of them, and choosing to stay in touch when the MSPA reader turns them down, meaning that there's still something that he wants that they haven't given up. Regardless, it's still true that being so cruel and rough with the MSPA reader's feelings after such an intimate gesture makes Lanque a bit of a jerk, if not an outright asshole. So, take him as a lesson if you can. Try not to make it a habit to date guys who make it a point of pride to be mean to other people. It's probably not gonna end well. That's all for now, so I hope you enjoyed coming along with us, and until next time, keep rising. Huge thanks go out to my patrons for making this video possible. If you want to help support the channel and come join us at our awesome and growing Discord community, feel free to join us for as little as $1 a month. You can also find me on the Hiveswap Reddit and Discord. That's all for now, so thank you again, and as always, keep rising.